My name's Darren Chan at Evolution 1079. We're bringing you another episode of How To. This time, we'll be delving into the Pathfinder 2nd Edition combat system. Recently, we built ourselves a champion for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and while Pathfinder 2nd Edition is a role-playing game, there is a lot of combat to it. Whether it be orcs, powerful dragons, or greater evil, there's a lot of things that your party is going to encounter and that you're going to have to face off against. So, we'll get you started on understanding the basis of Pathfinder 2nd Edition combat rules so you can delve right in whether you want to go through a dungeon crawl or you're ready to go on your first adventure with your buddies and take on whatever the world throws at you.
So before we start, let's put one word in our head that we should remember at all times. That word is 3. The number 3 defines much of Pathfinder 2e's combat system and is what you follow for determining what you can do each round. This signifies 1 action. This signifies 2 actions. This signifies 3 actions. This is a reaction. And this is a free action. 3 actions, 1 reaction, and free actions. That's what you can do each turn, though you don't need to spend them all if you don't want to. So when a battle starts, a game master will call for initiative. This is where you'll roll for your dice and add whatever values you might have, which is often your perception stat. In the case of our champion at level 1, we are trained at perception, which is 2 plus our level of 1, and our wisdom modifier of 2 for a total of 5. We'd roll a d20 and add our perception, which is 5, with everyone following suit. And the GM would mark down the initiative order, which might look something like this. Now thanks to our roll, we go first. So in this case, we will use 2 of our actions to stride up twice, and then 1 action to strike our foe. Each action of our stride is using our base speed of 25, which is currently unimpeded while wearing a breastplate, though certain armors can reduce your speed, whether by sheer weight or because you don't have the strength to offset them, but thankfully, we have a strength of 16. Each square on this map is 5 feet, so remember that, and do also note that going diagonal twice will take up additional movement. Now that we're in the face of the orc, we'd roll another d20 but add our melee modifier. For a champion who is trained in martial weapons, it is 2 plus our level, and then we would add our strength for a total of 6. The GM will then say whether you hit or not, and in the case, we landed a hit, so now we roll for damage. For damage, we use the damage dice of our weapon, which is a long sword, and in this case, it's a d8, and then we add our strength. Do note for ranged weapons when rolling to hit, you generally add your dexterity to hit rather than strength, though most ranged weapons do not gain any benefits to damage from your stats. With our turn completed, it's now the enemy's turn. Here, this orc will go all out on us and try to hit us with 2 attacks and 1 on our ally. The orc rolls against our AC, which at this point is 17 due to our breastplate and training in medium armor. The first strike hits. Worse, we take a critical as they rolled a natural 20, which is automatically a critical if that would have been a hit. In this case, the orc's damage is doubled, leaving us in a very bad spot. We take 17 damage, which we'll mark in, but the other 2 fail to hit, not only because of the luck of the dice, but also because the second and third attack are less accurate. Multiple attacks have penalties, with -5 for the second attack and -10 for the third attack, though there are some weapons that reduce this penalty. So remember -5 and -10 when figuring out your attack penalty. We will note, however, the orc sends its final attack against our ally, so we will opt to use our reaction. In this case, we get a single strike against the orc, though we don't technically suffer a multiple attack penalty since we have no active turn. Now with that resolve, we reach our next turn, and our ally has gotten in a position to flank our enemy. A powerful maneuver, flanking makes the enemy easier to hit. As you can see, our 2 party members are directly across from each other, with a line passing through the center of the enemy. This makes the enemy flat-footed, reducing their AC by 2, which means they're both easier to hit and land criticals on. Do note you must be able to draw a line directly through the enemy, and flanking a big guy like this, in this manner, will not lead to a flank. Now, if we roll to attack again, we find ourselves getting a 22, which beats the orc's AC by 10. We get our own critical. With a bit of luck and faith, the orc is now slain, and we move against the giant. Finally, we'll go over a few other maneuvers. If you have a shield, you can raise it as a single action to improve your AC based on the type of shield you have. A metal shield like this on our champion gives us +2. Furthermore, to avoid certain enemies attacking you during your turn, you can step. Here versus this giant, you could spend a single action to move 5 feet that does not trigger certain reactions to help either back away or get into a better position to flank. Finally, regarding combat, if your hit points go to 0, you're knocked down into the prone state, but you're not out yet. You can still hold out while you're in the dying state. In this case, you roll a single d20 with no modifiers, with the difficulty being your dying value. In the case of your first time going down, you need to get 11 or above. If you fail, you move into dying 2, with the max being dying 4, where you'll die if you don't make the check by then. Do note you can also critical fail this roll, increasing your dying value by 2. Do note you can have an ally attempt to get you back up through healing, but you will get the wounded state 1, which adds to your dying value. So if you go down again, your dying state, rather being at dying 1, would be at dying 2. The wounded state will only go away if someone heals you up the maximum, or using the medicine skill to treat your wounds. Constantly getting wounded does stack until removed, so try not to go down too many times.
So as you can see, that's Pathfinder 2nd Edition's combat rules. There's quite a few more in the book that we haven't gone over, but that's the basis to get you started. And remember, the rules are online if you want to delve deeper into the system. I'm Darren Chan at Evolution 1079, and this was another episode of How To.